This year, more than any other year, the upload schedule has been few and far between. It's the end of July and I've only uploaded 8 videos, so it's basically one a month. But throughout August, I'm going to make an attempt to actually get loads of videos out. We're going to get more videos out in August than we did the whole year. And I'm going to hold myself to that. You know, obviously I'm saying that now. It's going to be embarrassing if that doesn't happen. So we're saying this now so you can come back and comment what happened. But as like the first video back of this like comeback, I guess, I thought I'd be interesting to kind of talk about what I've been up to the year so far in games and movies and TV shows and books, which I have not read any books this year. I know I did say, I think it was at the end of 2024, I made a video similar to this and said I was going to start reading books. I have not done that yet, but maybe that can be part of this new series. So basically what I'm going to do is at the end of every month, I'm going to do like a catch up of what I've played and what I've watched, because movies are a big part of my life, almost equal to games. You know, I feel I live games more, but you know, we go to the cinema all the time, and I don't have a place to actually talk about them. So this series is a good excuse to do that, even if it is just like really baseline stuff. So yeah, like I said, the plan is at the end of every month, I'm going to do a recap of what I've been playing, and we can also talk about the DLPs. I think this will be a good kind of insight into what videos are coming next, because you know, I've got a lot recorded over this past year that obviously you've not seen yet. So, you know, you can see it here before the video actually has to get edited. However, I feel like it's weird to start with a end of July video. So what we're actually going to do today is we're going to do the full 2026. So all 7 months up to, I mean, it's not the end of July yet, but up to almost the end of July. And then in August, you'll get the end of August video, then end of September, end of October, you know. But just so this video isn't super long, you know, because the idea is I'm going to actually talk about the stuff in detail. But I checked, we have about 120 games, movies, and TV shows to talk about today. So if we spent a minute on each one, this video would be 2 hours long. So to avoid that, what we're going to do is go through every single thing in 15 seconds each, or under. You know, if I don't have anything to say, then we just will move on. So in this video, we're going to just go through the games and movies in chronological order, which does mean it will switch between games, movies, TV show, you know. Let me know in the comments if you would like maybe like games at the start, movies at the end, movies at the start, games at the end, or if it does feel better to have it in the order that actually, you know, interacted with the stuff. But anyway, this video is meant to be rapid fire, so we're going to get the housekeeping stuff out the way. I'll stop yapping and then we'll actually get into the list. So like the video if you like the video, subscribe if you're new, tell a friend, and let's go. For the films, these are all films that I've actually finished. You know, I think it's very rare for me to not finish a film. For the games, it's either games I finished, went back to and got the platinum in, or cleaned up like DLC to DLCs, or if it's a game that I played for like a significant amount of time but didn't finish it. We'll talk about them as well because they're kind of like a backlog like thing. You know, we'll go back to that, hopefully. And then same with TV shows. I don't actually watch many TV shows, but these are all TV shows that I have finished. Okay, so let's do 2026 so far in 15 seconds or less. So the first game that I played this year was called This Ain't Even Poker, You Joker. It's an incremental game where you flip cards, and I didn't like it very much. I only played it for a few hours, I didn't finish it. I was a huge fan of Martyr Supreme. I just thought it looked amazing, it was paced amazingly, and he should have won the Oscar. Then I watched The Salt Path, which is a story about this couple who kind of cure illness out of like faith. And it's a story that's so unbelievable, and then it turns out it was allegedly all fake. I'd never seen Shawshank Redemption, so we watched that this year. I'm actually quite lower on it than it seems a lot of people are, but obviously it's like great. I feel like it was like maybe built up a bit too much. Megabonk is Vampire Survivors in 3D, and I never got on with Vampire Survivors, and I didn't really get on with Megabonk, and I thought it kind of had like Reddit humor, which turned me off quite a lot, but I played it for about 5 hours, and you know, it was fine. Sentimental Value ended up being one of my favourite films of last year. It just looked amazing. I feel like I'm going to say that constantly throughout this video because that is just something that I noticed. Yeah, it looked amazing. I feel like it had so much to say, and there's a reason that the film had 4 acting nominations at the Oscars. 20 years later, The Bone Temple might actually be my favourite out of all 4. Alex Garland, I'm a huge Alex Garland fan, so anything he does, I'm there for. I think the soundtrack in this is amazing. You know, the needle drops are like on point, and Ray Fiennes is one of the best actors going. You know, if you know, you know. Then I finished and got the platinum for a game called Discounty. This is a life sim game where you run a supermarket. It kind of is what you assume it is. You know, you get the customers, you get more money, you upgrade your shop, that keeps going. But it does go some kind of interesting places, and I do need to go back to it because a DLC just came out or is coming out. I'm not sure. Then we got to watch the Lord of the Rings extended editions in the cinema, which is something I've never done before. They're obviously quite long, but our cinema just got recliners, so it made it seem more possible. Yeah, so over Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we got to watch Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King. Fellowship has always been my favourite. I don't know why, because it is all set up. I just think it's so like emotional. The kind of just the way the characters talk. This time around, I realised I think I actually like Two Towers the best. However, you can tell watching the extended editions that there are some scenes that should have been cut. You know, Two Towers I think is the worst for that. The pacing is just like off sometimes, and it's like, you know, I understand why this was cut. And yeah, The Turn of the King, it's like, I actually think The Turn of the King is my least favourite, which I know, you know, obviously that's the one that won the Oscars and stuff like that. I do think, is that people's general favourite one? I'm not sure, but yeah, Two Towers, Fellowship, The Turn of the King, in that order. Then, this is not a movie or a TV show, but it's on Letterboxd, so we're going to count it. But I watched Alex Honnold climb the Taipei Tower. I just thought that was amazing. You know, it is one of those things that's like, whenever anything in your life feels hard, it's like, well, you could just do it. He claimed that, you know, like, you just have to do it. Back to games, we played FBC Firebreak, which was not good. I think we played it all in like one sitting, basically. You know, Alan Wake 2 was one of my favourite games, like, of all time. Then we got this, but can throw this and it comes out in 2 months, so hopefully that can save the remedy. Controversially, I'm a big fan of Bradley Cooper's movies, particularly Maestro. I know that was like the Oscar villain that year, but I'm a big fan of his films. But Is This Thing On was a miss for me. Honestly, I wish he had cast himself. I know that, you know, like, I like to see him, especially all the stupid choices he makes. This is a John Bishop biopic, which, you know, if you're in the UK, that just it feels weird, but they made it like weirdly Americanized. Yeah, this is just a miss for me, and has one of the worst needle develops of all time at the end, especially because a film from a few years ago used that song as one of the best needle develops of all time. So, you know, it was just a miss. Then we watched Elio, which was a Pixar film that came out last year. I actually quite liked it, but it's like kind of, well, I've already forgot most of the things about it. So, you know, yeah, it's not a classic. Then we went to the cinema to see a film called The Voice of Hand the Jab, which is maybe one of the most harrowing things I've seen in the cinema. It's a film that takes place over like an 80-90 minutes of real time, and it documents a Red Cross call, or a Red Crescent call, which is that's the Palestinian version of the Red Cross. And it documents a child phoning for help after a car is pinned down by the IDF. And you see it from the Red Crescent perspective. You see them taking the phone call, but the kind of like, not gimmick, but the important thing about the movie is it actually uses the real life phone call from the child's side. So you hear her actual voice. That's why the film is called, you know, the film is called The Voice of Hand the Jab. Yeah, I just think it's like, you know, it's hard to kind of give an opinion on this film, I think. You know, it's like, giving it a star rating just feels weird. But it's like, you know, the most important film that came out last year. It feels so kind of, it was kind of like pointless to say something like that, but, you know, it is the case. You know, I feel like everyone should be shown this film. You know, it's like, you should go out your way to watch this if you can. Obviously, trigger warning, because it is like, you know, it's not like an easy film to watch, but, you know, you will get a lot out of it. If not just from the documentary side of like seeing what actually happened. So obviously this was like a big news story when it did happen at the time. I feel like including a film that heavy in these just makes the whole thing feel stupid, because the next thing we're moving on to is I went back to clean up some DLC trophies that got added to Mafia the Old Country. I don't think this game's that good, but, you know, we have to keep the list at 100%. And I was getting more DLC soon, so we will be going back. Then we went to see Pillion in the cinema. I was looking forward to this for a long time. This is a film about a sub-dom relationship. And I just think it was like so interesting, and it was so tender, and like, I feel like I've heard people say it's tragic. I don't actually feel that, but like Harry Mellon, who I've ever only seen as Dudley in Harry Potter, he's just amazing. And obviously we all love Alexander Skarsgård. So next I got the platinum in this. I think it was like a 20-minute game called Sector Shooter. Technically it's shovelware, but I saw it in a study video and it actually looked quite interesting to me in an incremental way. Ended up being not what I thought it was. So I would avoid this one, but it's an easy platinum. Also played Baby Steps, which I actually did here on Twitch and YouTube, where I beat the whole game in 9 hours. That was someday. I want to go back to this and get the platinum, but I still have like the fear. Now on Valentine's we went to see Wuthering Heights, which I think it actually looks good, but just everything else I just do not care about. You know, it's like everything's bad except how it looks, and I just wish everything in it went further. And also I do like the score as well. The score and how it looks is the only thing. You should ignore everything else. We also watched Bridget Jones 1 and 2, which I'm going to be honest, I've already like half forgotten. These are like cult classics, and I just feel like I didn't get them. The first one has like a crazy rating on Letterboxd, I think. It's got a 3.5, which is not that high, but it's like, come on. Apologies to women everywhere. Then went to the cinema at like 9 in the morning to see Little Emily or The Character of Rain. This was nominated for the Oscars, which is why I went to see it. The art style is very interesting, and most of all, this is like a kid's film that is more adult than you think. and it built up like a cultural thing that I've never thought about like ever, just because we're not showing these kind of stories. So I'd recommend checking it out. Finally, after 2 years, we got the Platinum in Bellato. You know, what a game. There's not much to say about that. It is like one of the best games ever made. Then we went to see The Moment, which is a Charlie XX mockumentary. I'm not even a Charlie XX fan, obviously. The Wuthering Heights score is good, but I thought this was genuinely funny, and the filmmaking style is what kind of made me like it so much. That same day, we also went to see La La Land in the cinema, which this is a film I've always liked, but actually kind of liked it more this time. I'm not sure why, maybe just being in the cinema, because I think it might be the first time I've ever seen it in the cinema. The only thing is, I know people might not like this, but I wish the songs were better. You know, it does have some good songs, but I wish they were all better, you know. But, you know, the film is still good. We also saw Bridget Jones 3, which, you know, as we've seen, I'm not a fan of these films, so we never even got that. The reason we were watching these is to watch 4, but we didn't even get into it. So if you're a Bridget Jones fan, this is where it ends. Then I got the Platinum in a roguelite beat 'em up called Absalom. I actually quite enjoyed this, but I thought I'd like it a lot more than I actually did. Based on like other people's reactions, it seems like the general public liked it a lot more than me. We went to the cinema to go see If I Had Legs I'd Kick You, which, you know, we were sitting like quite near the front, and that I think made it a lot better. And we got to see Conan on a cinema screen, so what more can you ask for? Now we've got 3 games in a row. I got the Platinum in Fantasy Life I, which is it's kind of like an incremental game RPG where you're just constantly leveling up. I don't know, maybe it's not an incremental game, maybe it's just an RPG. But, you know, there was a DS game back in the day, now there's a game on all consoles. I thought this was a lot of fun, and there's multiplayer, which lets you get carried to the Platinum if you want to like skip a few hours, which I did. Then I got the Platinum in 13 Sentinels, Ages of Them, which is a half visual novel, half like RTS, but the RTS is very easy. I thought the story in this was very interesting, and it was like, it's quite long, I think it's like 14 hours. And I was engaged the whole time. It's a time travel story where you switch between characters, so sometimes you're seeing like the end of the game, and then you go back to the start, and then you're in the middle, then you go back to the start and you find out more information based on what you've learned at the end. I just think it completely like works. Then I played the PS5 version of Goodnight Universe. This is a game, it's made by the people who made Before Your Eyes, which is a game on PC that uses your webcam. If you play it on PS5, it doesn't use your webcam. I think if you play the PlayStation version of this, or like anyone that's not using a webcam, you're not playing the game. So get this game in PC. But today I did do it on PS5. I wanted to see what the difference was. You know, is it worth? And it's not. Then I watched the Louis Theroux documentary about the Manosphere. I'm a big Louis Theroux fan through the documentaries and also the podcast. I thought this one was a bit weak, but I do think it's also just the fact that I'm like an online person, and I knew like most of the people before he told me. So, you know, like for a lot of people watching, they don't know who HS TikTok is. But for me, it was kind of like showing what he's like. I'm like, yeah, I know what he's like. And then I felt like there was no ending. There was no like solution or like, just, it was like, okay, this is an issue. Okay, you know, you have to like say something. Then I finished Coffee Talk in one sitting. I thought this game was really good. I do think the puzzle side of it is kind of nothing. But just the visual novel, I think the story is like fun. It's very like low stakes, but you know, it's weird. It's low stakes, but it's about like racism and stuff like that. And I think that is quite interesting. Also, after a year of only playing Blueprints on Twitch, where I was live every like 4 months, we did finish Blueprints, and I would like to go back to this and play it more, because, you know, people say that once you finish it, you haven't finished it. But I need to find the time, you know. Then I watched Nirvana the Band the Show, the web series, which I'll talk about later, but it was good. One of the biggest films of the year, Project Hail Mary, came out. I actually don't like this as much as people like it, it feels like, but it is good. It just kind of like, it kind of surprised me when it's like, I think on Letterboxd it's like the 150th best film ever. It's like, if you look at some of the films that this is better than on Letterboxd, you would not agree, but I'm happy that people went to the cinema. And catch up for the Oscars, we watched The Secret Agent, which I just think this film was honestly too complicated for me. There's a lot of politics, and it feels like you almost had to have a knowledge of Brazilian politics in the 70s or 80s to fully understand the movie. And I would like to go back to this after I've kind of read up on it. Honestly, I liked the movie, but I couldn't actually understand fully what was going on. So we'll revisit this one day, but the actual filmmaking was good. Then I watched It Was Just an Accident, which is a Iranian movie, which I found fascinating because the guy who made it, Jafar Panahi, is like basically condemned by the government, and this was filmed like in secret. You know, and the film is like really interesting about like revenge. I actually think if you're a fan of The Last of Us Part 2 and the story that tells, this is very similar. I recommend checking this out. Very quick one here, but my family were on Netflix and someone wanted to watch Peaky Blinders, the movie. I've never seen an episode of Peaky Blinders, so I watched this whole thing. Obviously this is like the finale, and I did not understand anything that was going on. I'm not actually sure, it felt very, very slow, which maybe like if you're a fan of the show you're looking for, or like you were excited about, but I don't think I kind of want to watch the show now just to watch this again and kind of understand what it was doing. Then I got the platinum in a roguelike, Hades-like, I guess, called Lost in Random: The Eternal Die. It's quite good. For the platinum, it gets very grindy at the end. You have to play like 5 hours after you've finished the game. But if you're looking for another Hades, obviously I played this before Hades 2 came out on PlayStation. If you're looking for another Hades, check this out. In March I also got a Switch 2, so the first game I played was Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which I actually did find quite interesting, and the minigames were quite fun. Obviously, you know, it's not a good game, but you know. I also played Mario Kart World for about 2 hours. I'm just not a Mario Kart fan. I don't know if I'm going to go back to it, but you know, it's like, we got the Switch, you have to play Mario Kart. And then it's that kind of awkward thing where after the race, you're like, you guys still want to play this, or can we go back to playing Pokemon Procopia? So the reason I got the Switch was for Procopia. I've only actually played about 20 hours, but I did enjoy what I played. I just need to go back to it. I don't know what happened. Some more cleanup. I went back to The Last of Us Part 2 to do the chronological mode, which, you know, I was basically just skipping the cutscenes. I just wanted to get this back to 100% on my list. We also went back to Lego Batman 3 and did the DLC in that, but I had actually lost my save, so to do the DLC I had to play the whole game again, and Lego games are fun. I'm actually excited to play the new Lego Batman now, after playing that. I'm planning on making a video soon about Indie Game the Movie, so as research for that, I had to watch it again. This is maybe one of the most formative things in my life. Yeah, it's a documentary about the making of Super Meat Boy, Braid and Fez, and I just think it's so amazing. It is quite dated now. When you watch it now, they say stuff that you're like, you know, I mean, obviously it's like, I'm sure even Edmund said this, but it's like 3 white men making games. It's like, that's not indicative of what the game scene is like in 2026. But you know what, it's actually fascinating how open they are sometimes. There's talk about like suicide and like murder. There's like, they say insane stuff in this movie, so if you've never seen it, it's definitely worth checking out. And especially in 2026, it's a big year for Indie Game the Movie, because we had Mugenics, Super Meat Boy 3D, and The Order of the Sinking Star is coming out soon. Sadly, no Fez 2. After the trophies being bugged at launch, I went back to Dispatch to get the platinum in that. Yeah, this game's good. Again, I feel like I'm lower on it than a lot of people, but I did like the idea of the episodic thing. Every 2 weeks, get like a little game. I just wish what I will say, I'm very interested to see what they do next. Then a double bill of kids movies. We went to see Super Mario Galaxy, which is quite bad, and doesn't even feel like a movie, but you know, the person who has a Bulbasaur, a Kirby, and Donkey Kong above my head, there's also a Diddy Kong up there. Did enjoy it. The animation for Star Fox was maybe the best thing about it. You know, I'm just waiting for the Diddy Kong movie. But yeah, then we went to see Hoppers, which is the new Pixar of this year. It's okay. It's no Monsters Inc., I'll tell you that. Then I played I think this might be my first new game of the year. I can't be that. I think it might be. Then I played Resident Evil Requiem. Again, maybe I feel like I'm being very negative, but maybe my least favourite of the recent, like basically back to 7. But the game, they're always good. The kind of progression system is like my favourite thing about them, I think. Then for some more trophy cleanup, I went back to Themes, which is a game engine that Media Molecule made, and you can get the platinum in it. I did like a bunch of cleanup. All I need to do now is get to level 30, I think it is, and I'm at like level 25. It takes ages. You just need to go on and play for a bit. So I'll get that at some point. But I'm thinking like the servers are going to go down like soon, so I need to get on that. James McAvoy's directorial debut, California Scheming, is a film about these working class boys from Scotland, who kind of like stick the music industry into giving them like a record deal, and it shows like the fallout from that. I do think it's quite an interesting film because it feels like a film you've seen before, just with the dynamics of the two characters, but I think it plays on it a little bit. I think this is one I'm actually going to like as I get older, just for kind of the fact, I don't actually know if the film did any well outside of Scotland, but the fact that last year we got I Swear, and then we got California Scheming, you know, it's like just the idea of people seeing like Scotland on the big screen, that's exciting to me. My girlfriend is a big Rob Reiner fan, and they were showing all his films in the cinema after he passed away. So we started with This Is Spinal Tap, which I'd never seen. I love how kind of understated this film is. Well, obviously it is funny, but I feel like a lot of the time the jokes aren't played for laughs, and you just kind of have to like catch them. And I had such like a Leo Pointing moment in the cinema when I realised that one of the guys in it was Chuck McGill. I never knew that. I was just like, wow. Because the whole film was like, it was so recognisable, and then it clicked. Now, I actually ended up being quite sick this month, so I didn't actually go to see any other of the Rob Reiner films, but that means I did play a lot of games. This is also when Warboats started. We're going to go through these quite quick. I played about 6 hours of Mass Effect 2, which is a game that obviously I played back when it came out. I need to go back to this. I platinumed Lost Records Blooming Age because it was leaving PlayStation Plus. It's not great, but I think it's like worth playing if you're into these kind of Life is Strange games. Tiny Bookshop is a game where you run a tiny bookshop. This one is actually quite fun as a podcast game. It's very, very simple. The story is kind of like nothing, but it's kind of like relaxing. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's like, this is worth playing if you're into these kind of games. Then I played Far Lone Sails, which is from the developers of Herdling that I played last year. I actually thought this was quite fun. It's, again, quite simple. It's quite simple for this style of game. There's no like big like story moment, I don't think. But it's a game where you're in charge of this like big vehicle. You need to make sure it's fueled, you need to put the engine on, make sure the engine doesn't overheat, stuff like that. You get upgrades over the course of the game. I found it quite interesting, and I'm excited to play the next one, which I forgot the name of, but you know, these games are quite short, so I'll get to that this year. I also played about 5 hours of Citizen Sleeper, which, you know, I absolutely loved. I actually think I've played most of it. You know, like 5 hours is quite a lot for, I think it's quite a short game. I need to go back to this one. Again, it was a thing where I played it up until I had to for Warboats, and I just haven't went back to it, but look, I love this. And obviously I need to get to the second one. One of my big surprises of 2026 was Saturday Night Live UK. We put the first episode on almost, not as a joke, but it's like, we didn't think it was going to be good. And then instantly we got George Foodacres as Keir Starmer. Genuinely, every Saturday, it was on for I think 8 weeks. Every Saturday, it was like I was waiting for the next episode, and it's been off for about 2 months, and it's coming back at the start of September. And again, I'm like counting down the days. Obviously, Keir Starmer has left us, but we're getting Paddy Young as Andy Burnham, so you know, what more can you ask for? Generally, like, George Foodacres has been like the standout. And it's so funny to think, whenever I find like a movie or a TV show or like a comedian that speaks directly to me, it's the idea that he's always been out here. You know, he's been working for however long, and we found him. You know, and now I'm like another run George Foodacres fan. I just think he's like amazing. And obviously everyone, you know, the whole show is good, but he's the standout. So because I got big into SNL UK, I watched Saturday Night, which was a biopic about the first night of SNL US. I thought I would love this when it came out, and I finally got into it, and I didn't like it very much. We watched it without subtitles, and I found so much of it hard to understand. And I get that's maybe the point, because like things are going wrong. It's meant to be like a kind of Uncut Gems-esque. It's meant to be like a Safety with Others movie. But it just did not work for me here. And I was very disappointed. I just feel like there was like so much going on. And again, it's like, that's the point of the film, but it's hard for me to latch on to that, you know. It just makes me feel overwhelmed. Which again, is the point of the film. But you know. We also watched The Roommates, because we have a new Sandler taking over Netflix. I actually thought this was better than I expected for being like, you know, like a Netflix film. I actually think it looked quite good. And I'm excited to watch the other director's movie that came out this year, Melon Kicks. And to see if there's anything actually tangible between like a Netflix movie and like an indie movie, you know, or are they the same thing? We also watched Booksmart, which is a film that I love. I feel like I kind of like it less every time I watch it, but yeah, like still good. And I'm a Olivia Wilde defender, so we haven't actually seen the end of it yet. I'm actually going to see it tomorrow, so that'll be part of next month's video. But you know, I'm excited for that. Also for Warboats, I played about 6 hours of Final Fantasy VII, the original one. I've played the remake. I haven't got down to Rebirth yet. I thought it was fascinating how quick you actually finish the remake in the original game. It's like 3 hours long. It's insane. Yeah, I will go back to this at some point. Then again, we're going to skip this because I'll get to it later, but I watched Nirvana the Band, the show, the movie. Obviously it was good. In preparation for The Devil Wears Prada 2, we watched The Devil Wears Prada 1. I don't understand what this film is like about. I don't know what it's trying to say. I don't like it very much. And then the next day we went to see the second one, and again, I'm like, I have no clue what this film is actually like. What are the themes of this movie? But yeah, whatever. Then that same day we watched Michael, which is maybe, I think, it's my least favourite film of the year. I feel like the biggest crime of the film is it does not address the thing that you think about when you think of Michael Jackson, which is like, fine, whatever. If they want to do that, sure. Obviously the music was good, you know, I feel like that's what so many people are saying, but yeah, obviously. But yeah, the film, I feel like, again, it didn't like say anything, and the things that it did say, I thought were quite bad, so, you know. Then we played a lot of games. First off, we had Fae, which is a game it's an indie game that EA published a few years ago. I went back to that for the Warboats, and I got the Platinum in it. I actually think it's quite interesting. I was quite harsh on it in the video that I made a few months ago, talking about it. Yeah, it's kind of weird, and it's maybe worth playing. Also played about 4 hours of Dungeon Crawler, which is a roguelite dungeon claw machine game, where you crawl in a dungeon. This is one I'm just putting on the list because I need to go back to it. You know, I played it on Twitch twice for 4 hours. I need to go back to it. Then I finally got kind of consistent with Twitch because I played Monument Valley 1, 2, and 3 back to back. These games are kind of what they look like. There is an idea of them being like prestige mobile games. I think they are kind of interesting, and they are kind of short, so they are kind of worth their time, but it's like, I was expecting a lot more. There is a story going on in the background that I feel like, maybe if I paid more attention to that, I would have liked it more, but I don't know. We also played Mixtape, which is maybe my game of the year, but I'm kind of looking for like a game I actually love. You know, I made a video on this a few months ago. for some reason this has become like the evil game of this year. It's good. And, you know, my thoughts are in that video. Also, in the lead up to the new one and for Warboats, I played about half of Onimusha Warlords. Again, this is just on the list because I need to go back to it. And I also played about 20 hours of Final Fantasy X for Warboats. Again, this is in the list because I need to go back to it. But this game, I think I would like this if I actually like played it for Warboats, and because I need to go back to it for like Game of the Year for last year reasons. I played about 10 hours of Hades 2. I get, like, you know, it's Hades but better. I need to go back to this. A game I did finish though was Shell Diver. This is an incremental game where you go collect fish, I think it was, or squids, jellyfish maybe. Then you can upgrade your gun to make it better to get more jellyfish. It's a very, very simple game, but it's fun. Good podcast game. I also went back to finish Tower Wizard, which is an incremental game that I played last year that I ended up not finishing because it felt too hard and like grindy. And then someone that I know played it and they told me like it's not, so I went back and finished it in about an hour. So also another game I have to go back to, I played about an hour of 1000 X Resist, which was a lot of people's game of the year in 2024. Again, I'm just saying this so that I get like pressure to go back to it. If you want to put in the comments, I can't believe you've played half of Citizen Sleeper in an hour of 1000 X Resist, then go ahead and comment that. Then I went away to Cyprus for a week. So on the plane there, I watched After Sun again, which is a bit of a crazy film to watch on a plane, but you know, you have to do it sometimes. It's a film set in Turkey, but it was written in Cyprus, so I thought it was apt. Then obviously when I was away, I didn't do anything. However, on the way back, I played Kirby in the Forgotten World on the Switch. I played it for the duration of the flight, so like 3 hours maybe, but I've not went back to it since. I thought it was kind of fun. Yeah, maybe I'll go back to this. I know I did just get DLC with the Switch 2 version, so. Then when I came back, I finished Coffee Talk 2. Again, I liked this less than the first one. I think it was a lot longer. The Platin was definitely a lot longer. Yeah, same kind of thing. The puzzles didn't super work for me, but the story kind of did. Some of the people are new, some of it's a continuation. The thing with the second game as well, it's a different team that worked on it, I think, while the creator of the first one was working on After Love EP. So it's a, you know, it's a different development studio, I believe. So, and now I'm also excited to play Coffee Talk Tokyo to see what the, you know, is it going to continue while the puzzles kind of change? I'm not sure. Then another cleanup. Because of Warboats, we went back to Dying Light 2, which is a game that I played back when it came out and didn't like. Ended up basically just using this as a podcast game, and I got the... I actually don't have the Platinum yet, because the last DLC is like annoying. So I was renting it and ended up sending it back without doing a final DLC, but one day, if it gets on PlayStation Plus, I'll turn my PlayStation on for like 5 days in a row. Then the final game of this block, I played Scratchy Scratchy, which is an incremental game where you scratch cards. Again, it's a good podcast game. Is it like fun? Do I recommend it? Maybe not, but if you're wanting to knock off some podcasts, then I've got the game for you. Back to movies, I went to see the new Spielberg film, Disclosure Day. I think this is like shot well, and that's all I have to say about it. I think the ideas are interesting, but I'm like, I don't know, it just didn't connect with me. What did connect with me though is The Sheep Detectives. This is a mostly animated film. I mean, it's like real life with CGI animals. About a guy who gets murdered, and then the sheep have to help the humans find out who it was. It's like, it's genuinely an actual good movie. That same day, we went to see Scary Movie 6, I think it is. This is obviously not a good movie, but genuinely, I don't know, there's something about it that's like, it just made me, like, I went to the cinema to see Kai Cenat. It's like, what else can you say about that? That same day, we also watched Send Help, which is the new Sam Raimi movie. I actually did quite enjoy this. It's like, you know, it's one of those like concept films where, you know, it's like people on an island, like what's going to happen? And I think the places it goes is quite interesting. I do think it's maybe like slightly too long. You know, it takes a while to get to places it's going, but I do think each moment is good. So I had a big movie day because that day I also watched Saipan, which is a movie about Roy Keane and Mick McCarthy in the like build up to the 2002 World Cup. I'm a big biopic fan. I thought this was really good, but again, I think this is slightly too long. I think this would be really good as like a 45-minute TV movie, because a lot of it, you know, it's a story where kind of nothing actually happens. It's about like, I'm annoyed at you because this thing happened, and then that, you know what I mean? And I do think a lot of the middle of the movie is just people getting annoyed at each other again and again and again, and then but the payoff is worth it. So yeah, I really did enjoy this movie, but I just wish it was a lot shorter. I'm also a big Steve Coogan fan, so you know, it's just fun to see him. And finally, as the last movie of the day, I watched Flow Then Son, which is a John Carney movie. I'm a huge fan of Once, and I've not seen it in ages, but I like Begin Again, so I was really excited for this. This one is a lot worse than his other movies. I still think it's like quite good, but I just think I hold him so high as a director, and this one just did not do much for me. What I do appreciate about this movie is it's set in Ireland, and it has like, you know, to me, someone who's not from America, it has like authentic accents. I just always like the idea of directors from like not America making movies about where they're from. I just think that's like important. There's a whole side story thing with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which I think goes on too long and just doesn't work. And specifically the music in this film isn't as good as his other movies, which is one of the main reasons that I'm so low on it. Another one of the biggest films of the year, obviously I liked Obsession like everyone else did. I mean, there's not much to say, you know. I feel like I've said it and people have said. From one YouTube movie to another, that day we also went to see Backrooms. I feel like this is like a movie of two halves, because I like the kind of concept and I like the way it looks, and it's fun to watch people explore the Backrooms. But I think the actual movie side of it kind of didn't connect with me. You know, there's that one dinner scene with like a lot of exposition and like the themes of the movie, and I did get nervous about that, but then I realised that was literally like the end of the movie, so it wasn't a huge deal. But I'm not sure, I feel like I wouldn't like this as much on a rewatch, just because the Backroom side of it wouldn't work. But maybe I might connect more with the actual story, so I don't know. Back to games, I went back and got the Platinum in Melatonin, which is a rhythm game similar to like Rhythm Heaven. Someone compared this to Siren of Wild Hearts, which made me buy it. You know, that's my favourite game of all time. This one sadly did not live up, but I think it's worth playing if you're into these kind of games, because we only get so many, you know. Also, I believe this was because of Warboats, but I went back to play Peggle 2, and I'm like on my way to the Platinum. I just thought, you know, I should mention, it is just Peggle, but you know. I also went to 100% a game that came out on PlayStation Plus in 2014 called Doki Doki Universe. This is a weird game where you just go up to people and they say like, I wish I had a flower, and then you can like summon you have like a bag full of like stickers, and you can put down a flower. It's weird, but you know, it doesn't take long to 100%. I just kind of wanted it off my list because it was on it. And I'm happy I played it. I also went back to get the Platinum in a game that I started because of Warboats called Thirsty Shooters. This is an RPG about cooking and family. I don't think the game was that great, but it's quite short, and you know, I always appreciate these kind of cultural stories, even if it didn't fully work. The developers also put out a game this year called Dos Divas, which I need to get to. Back to films, I watched How to Make a Killing, which is a movie where Glenn Powell is like at the bottom of this dynasty, and he wants to make money by killing all the members of the family so he gets the money. I don't think the film is that good, but I kind of like the Hitman side of it, you know. He did do a movie called Hitman, but I mean Hitman the game. Just the idea of like, you know, how's this person going to get killed, and it always has to look like an accident. You know, he's basically doing silent assassin suit only for the whole movie. Kind of interesting. We also went to see Jackass Best and Last. Now, as a very casual Jackass fan, I did not actually realise how much of the movie was clipped. Like, I knew some of it was, but I think it might be like 70%. If you are a Jackass fan, you might not like that. But I just found this film very emotional. Just the idea of like these like friends making this movie. You know, that's why I liked it. I feel like a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, like I like Jackass because the stunts were crazy in this one. It's like, I like Jackass because they were like hugging each other and stuff like that. We also went to see Toy Story 5, which kind of just made me sad. I didn't think it was bad, but it's kind of felt like pointless. I do think the first like half an hour is very slow, and I was like, what's going on? Yeah, it's like, I would just wish this wasn't made, you know. It's weird how little the side characters are in it, you know. But it's another movie that has Conan in it. Going back to Obsession, we got Andy Richter from the Conan universe, so you know, we're happy with that. Now we went to the cinema, went to the Glasgow Film Theatre to watch Nirvana the band The Show at the movie. These are two people who I've known about since Update Day. I don't know when I would have seen that, but I didn't actually know what it was. And then when the Vice show came out, I'd heard of the show, but I never got into watching it. And it was only when the film was making like a buzz, I was like, okay, we should go see this. They had the UK premiere at the Glasgow Film Theatre, and I couldn't make it. And then it kind of felt like the movie was never going to come out here. There was like some kind of copyright issue, I'm not actually sure what it was, but everyone was going to see the film in America and Canada and saying how it's the best film of the year, and I was just sitting here in Scotland, sad. But that ended up being a silver lining, because while everyone was talking about how good this was, we took the opportunity to go back and watch the web series, season 1 and season 2 of the TV show. And then when the film, and I thought they were like amazing, like generally it was like what I was saying about George Fouracres. It's like, this has been here, since 2007, this has been here, and I could have watched it, you know, like, I've been missing out. Then the film ended up coming out on digital in North America, and I think like worldwide, I think it was out in New Zealand, but just not here. So I found a way to watch it, and it was obviously like, you know, it lived up to what I was expecting. And then it just kind of felt like, okay, well, it will never come out here. And then it came out here, so we got to actually go to the cinema to go see it with, I think it was a bunch of people who like already had seen it. You know, it's a very like online fan base, so I feel like everyone found a way to watch it. But yeah, seeing it in the cinema just kind of reaffirmed my love for it, and like made me realise how good it is. Especially, there's a line where they say, if you're seeing this in the cinema, you're lucky. And I was like, the first time I watched this, I wasn't, but now I am. Now I'm very lucky. Since I saw it back in, March, it was my number 1 film of the year, and I'm still kind of debating, you know, we'll get to it, but it's still one of my favourite films ever. And it's like, I'm so lucky that we got to like go on this journey of watching the web series. Season 1, Season 2, we're going to make our way down to his other movies. We watched Black Friday when that came out, and I was aware of Matt Johnson back then. But yeah, now we have Tony, I think, in 2 weeks. So we'll be talking about Matt Johnson again in next month's video. But, you know, yeah, it's like, this was like so special. And it's maybe my favourite film of the year. Maybe. So now we just have the rest of July, and we have a bunch of games. So I played Mosaic of the Strange, which is a kind of, it's not Picross, but it's kind of like a Picross puzzle game. It's from the developers of a game called Proverbs that I played last year. I think this one was not as good, and it kind of makes me think that Proverbs was the only type of game of this I should have played. But, you know, it's a good podcast game. I feel like saying something's a good podcast game is usually a positive, but I feel like whenever I say it, it's a negative. It means like there's nothing going on, but you can click on things. And that's kind of how I feel about this game. Then I finished Pragmata on Lunatic difficulty for the Platinum. I think this game is quite good. The fan base has been kind of annoying about it. It feels like if you don't like the game, you'll feel the wrath of the internet. And then obviously there is like a segment of the fan base that has been like very weird about this game. Yeah, I think the gameplay is good. The story kind of did nothing for me. I know that's what a lot of people were talking about. I don't know why, because usually that kind of thing would. But I do think the gameplay is just like very interesting, and the weapons are fun. And it's just like a very well-made game, like the level design. Yeah, I don't think it will maybe make it into my top 10, but I think it'll be high up at the end of the year. Now we're doing a quick one here because I'm going to come back to this next month. But I played a game called Gambler's Table. This is an incremental game where you flip a coin and then you get the money, you buy more coins. I played it for about 2 hours, and then I just felt it was like the progression was like so slow. There's only like 14 skills you can buy to like kind of get like new gimmicks and stuff like that. So I stopped playing it. But then I got a Steam notification that they've updated the game. It's like Gambler's Table 2.0, and they've added like 100 new skills. So I need to go back to this one because the game was bad, but they've like fixed it, I guess. Then I played another encounter game called Loot Loop. This one's very simple. It's just basically like an auto battler, and you can make the guy attack faster. Good podcast game, but I actually do think this one is kind of interesting. Then on Twitch, I played a puzzle game called Ooh, which is a game where you can put a bomb down and blow it up, and you can also blow yourself up, and you can bomb yourself in different directions. It's kind of like a Outer Wild, Animal Well, but like very small. You know, it's a 2-hour experience. We're just kind of learning like what can you do with this one simple mechanic. There's maybe it's one of my favourite games of last year. I was going to say it's number 1. It might be my game of the year for last year. Back to movies quickly. We watched Before Sunset. Last year, me and my girlfriend watched Before Sunrise on our anniversary, and then this year we watched Before Sunset. I just love this film. I wish I'd watched it earlier. I feel like it would have made like such an effect on me. But yeah, I just think I think these are like amazing, and I'm nervous. Obviously, next year we're going to watch Before Midnight, and I'm nervous to see what happens. Then I played another kind of incremental deck builder game called Slots and Daggers, where you roll the slots and then you do attacks based on that, and then you can get different combinations, stuff like that. This is a very simple game where numbers go up. I think it's quite good if you're into this and that kind of thing. It's a game where it wants you to win. You get upgrades after each run, and it's only like 5 hours long to get the platinum. It's worth checking out. Also another one, because of Warboats, I was motivated to go back and get the platinum in Need for Speed 2015. I think the game's actually quite good. It's just like a very simple racing game. It's got these FMV cutscenes. I know this is a good podcast game, but in a positive way this time. You know, like just upgrade your car, race around while, you know, doing something else. Then maybe the biggest film of the year, went to see The Odyssey, which is maybe my favourite film of the year. This is the one, it's kind of like my head and my heart. You know, this is obviously better than Nirvana the band, and like objective reasons, but just the story of Nirvana the band makes me kind of sway that way. Yeah, again, this is kind of an obsession where I feel like there's no point talking about it because I have the same opinions as everything else. It's like, yeah, it was good. Now, this was all in the past week. I finished Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. It took me like 6 hours. Technically, I only got to chapter 6 out of 10, but the credits did though, so I'm going to say that I finished it. This is like a kid's game. It's kind of interesting at the start, but I have no reason to like continue playing. Also went back to get the 100% in Clicker Heroes. I should not have done this. Genuinely, it took so long. It took like 4 days of like my PlayStation being on all day and having to like click on things. Don't do this. But I did play on Twitch Patrick's Paradox, which is a puzzle game where you can like, you move cubes about, then you can go inside the cubes. It's very interesting. I've done about half of the puzzle so far, which is enough to like beat it. But I want to go back. I was going to do the other puzzles off camera and just like follow a guide. But I'm thinking of going back on Twitch and at least attempting every puzzle. Then we caught up on a film that we'd missed from a few months ago called The Drama, which is, I don't actually want to, because it's kind of new, I don't want to actually say what it's about. I think the film did not fully work for me, but I think the topic that it talks about is very interesting, and I want to revisit this and kind of like actually analyse it, not in like a wanky way, but do you know what I mean? I want to actually like watch it again and be like what exactly is the film actually saying about society and the way we like talk to each other. Again, I don't know if this film did well. It made 100 million, so it's not like what I thought, but you know, it's good that like it's another movie that got people who don't watch like a lot of films to the cinema. And it's a film that's like easy to kind of talk about and give your opinions on. Then back to the games, we played Time Flies, which is a game where you play as a fly and you have about 80 seconds to fly around and interact with things, and you need to find these like 10 things in each level. I thought this was quite fun. It's actually quite funny as well. And I played this on Twitch if you want to go watch the VOD. Then we watched Y2K, which is a film that explores what if Y2K actually happened, and then it's like turns into like a horror film where the robots like try to kill them. It's kind of like, it starts off as like a stoner comedy, and I guess it stays like that the whole way. I actually thought this was quite good, and it's got like quite a low average rating on Letterboxd, and I'm like, I don't know what happened here, but I enjoyed it. I don't know. Then we finished. We were watching this for ages. It's only like 6 episodes, but we watched a show called Last One Laughing Season 2, which is a show where they get 10 British comedians into a room, and then if you laugh twice, you're out. It's kind of like easy. It's like something you watch when you're eating food. I think season 1 was funnier, but you know, it's worth watching, especially if you like the people who are in it. That same night, we watched the Jack Tucker comedy stand-up hour. I don't actually know what it's called, but it's a guy I've been seeing on my TikTok for like a year, and he will be coming to the Edinburgh Fringe. I mean, he comes every year. I wanted to actually watch a full stand-up thing by him to see like what is he actually like, and I think this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. So this is on YouTube. I'll actually link it below if you want to watch this, but generally, if you've never seen him before, go in blind and just click the link and just watch an hour of this. It's amazing. Now we have 2 games left and 1 movie. I went back to get the Platinum in Far Cry 4. This is a game, I almost got the Platinum back when it came out, and then I ended up losing my save because it was on a PlayStation I gave to someone. So I went back to it and I had to end up playing through most of the game. I actually don't have the Platinum yet. I'm 2 trophies away, but I'm so close. Then these were both yesterday. I played a game called Buffet Boss, or do people say Buffet or Buffet? We played the game called Buffet Boss, which is it looks like a mobile game. You're like literally the people, you know, if you see gameplay of this, you're like, okay. But it's free on the PlayStation Store and it's a 2-hour Platinum. This is kind of like sector shooter, where I was like, I think I might like this. And I actually did kind of like this. It's a very simple incremental game. Upgrade your stuff, you can move faster, and the fact you get a Platinum, it's like you can't say no. And then the most recent thing I watched or played in 2026 was last night. I watched the Mortal Kombat movie from 2021, and I thought it was quite bad. So what an ending. I think I'm going to watch the second one tonight, so you'll find out what I think about that in next month's video. Yeah, hopefully I kept this video short. I recorded for quite a long time, but I'm hoping I can cut up all these clips and get the video. I want it to be like 30 minutes, even if I can get 20 minutes. But yeah, so I'll be doing a video like this at the end of every month from now on. So at the end of August, you'll get a video about August, and September, you'll get a video about September. That was everything I've watched and played in 2026. And like I said, this is the start of like a reboot for the channel. Like a comeback. You know, I'm going to start like actually uploading. You know, 7 videos in 7 months is not good enough. So we're going to do like a lot in August, and then hopefully keep the momentum going. Yeah, if you watched this all the way through, thanks for watching. Like I said, subscribe, like the video, all that, and have a good one.